What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of BSP's Block List presented by Couch Guy Sports. I'm your host, Brianna, also known as BSP, and my job here is to take you through every story that I'm following and the ones that I'm blocking from the world of Boston sports and beyond. Now, it's been a pretty busy news week, so let's just jump right in. Probably the biggest news out of New England right now would be all of the Patriots players that are opting out of playing through the 2020 NFL season due to coronavirus, headlined by Dont'a Hightower, Patrick Chung, and Marcus Cannon, who are all some pretty big losses to this team. There are 6 Pats in total that decided to opt out this year. However, it was reported by NFL Network on Thursday morning that Matthew Slater, our beloved captain, was contemplating opting out but decided he's going to play this year, which is a big help to a team that already lost a lot of locker room leadership. There's going to be a deadline in which players need to opt out by if they choose to do so, but that's not going to be until a week after the league and the Players Association agree on this deal. So it could be a week from today, it could be a week from tomorrow, but all I know is there's going to be way more players than the current 25 to 30 throughout the league that have already decided that they're not going to play this year. Switching over to a league that is playing right now, Major League Baseball is sort of a mess. This Marlins outbreak that is just completely tearing through their clubhouse, making them not play for the foreseeable future. They say it's going to be a week, but there's a very, very good chance that it's going to be more. It's just ruining what we hoped to be a fun 60-game baseball season. And now it was reported Thursday morning that a Phillies coach and the clubhouse attendant have tested positive for coronavirus after they played the Marlins. It doesn't bode well for the league. It doesn't look good for Rob Manfred. Now, the Boston Red Sox, who luckily are not dealing with any coronavirus outbreaks in their clubhouse, are also dealing with some problems of their own, which we all know is the bullpen. And it's just, we knew this was going to happen. I feel like we all went into the season expecting that the bullpen was going to be a disaster, but it just showed what we all feared in the first week of the season. This team has to score 10 runs in order to win because they get no support from the pitching staff. And you can't have Nathan Eovaldi pitching every single day, obviously, or else we'd have no problems whatsoever, but that's not the case. The Red Sox bats have also started a little cold to begin the season, specifically with Andrew Benintendi. I know I've talked a lot about how we are jumping down his throat a little too much, and I feel like that's still true because he's not the only one who just can't buy a hit to save his life, but I will say he's got to wake up, but so does everybody else. Moving things up to Toronto, the Bruins are ready to take on the Philadelphia Flyers Sunday afternoon in their very first game of this weirdo 2020 season, but it should be all good for Bruins fans because David Pastrnak is going to be playing. He's done with this whole quarantine. He was able to travel with the team up to Toronto. Ondrej Kase wasn't, but David Pastrnak was, and he, out of the two, would say, might be a little more important than the other. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the top line's back together, the team is healthy, and they're going to make a run for the cup. And finally, in updates, the Boston Celtics open their season tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they should be at full strength with Kemba Walker being able to play. Now, on the other hand, the Bucks are going to be without Eric Bledsoe and Pat Connaughton, which is a little bit of a blow for the team, but they still have Giannis, and they still have Celtics killer Chris Middleton. So regardless of losing those 2 players for the night, it's still going to be a good matchup. And for the stories I'm blocking this week, I'm just going to start with the biggest one out of all of them because I feel like it's a really important thing that we need to stop doing. And I don't say we, including me. I say we as sports fans, excluding the ones that don't do this. So everybody else who decides that they don't want to use their brains, this is for you. We need to block this. We're not doing this anymore. Conspiracy theories, specifically around the Patriots right now as to why players are opting out. It has nothing to do with the way they feel towards Bill Belichick. It has nothing to do with, oh, well, if Tom Brady stayed, maybe nobody would have opted out. No, none of that. Please, I'm begging you. Absolutely none of that. You know what it has to do with? It has to do with the pandemic that we're all living through right now. The lovely coronavirus. The Rona, if you will. That's what it has to do with. That is where it starts and that's where it stops. Coronavirus. These guys have, whether they have health issues themselves, like Marcus Cannon, who is a 2-time cancer survivor, Dont'a Hightower, whose fiance just had a baby 2 weeks ago, and whose mother is a diabetic, and who's very susceptible to catching this virus. Okay? You with me so far? Patrick Chung, whose son has asthma, whose girlfriend has a baby on the way. Why are they going to put themselves in situations to potentially get the virus? Because we're already seeing what this virus is doing in baseball. In a minimal contact sport, when you have guys running into each other at full speed and dripping sweat all over each other and around each other 24/7 in a extremely high contact sport, not in a bubble, they're still going to be traveling. The Patriots are still gonna have to go down to Miami and play the Dolphins. And Florida is like the hot spot. The hot spot. We need to cut Florida off because that's how terribly they're handling this. But people want to say, oh, well, Bill Belichick lost the team. These guys are opting out because they don't want to play for him. No. They're opting out because they don't want to get sick. They don't want their family members to get sick. They don't want to risk anything that they don't need to in a season that we're really not even sure is going to happen. So, if you, as a fan, and even some of these reporters that I've been seeing, and a lot of the Boston area reporters are guilty of it, please stop with the hot takes and the irresponsible reporting saying, I wonder if Tom Brady was still a Patriot, or I wonder if, they're trying to stick it to Bill. No, okay? No, they don't want to get sick. It 100% has to do with coronavirus and nothing else. Okay, so we're stopping that. We're not going to do that anymore. We are going to look at these athletes, at this tough decision they made to give up what they do for a full year, including their full salaries, okay? If they're opting out, they're getting a minimal fraction of what they would be making for a full season, okay? Please remember that. We need to just take it for what it is and say, you know what, if I were in their shoes, I would probably be doing the same thing, because this virus is pretty scary. It doesn't matter the recovery rate, it doesn't matter the ages in which people are catching it and dying, it's all scary, okay? And if they don't want to play and they don't want to risk anything, especially their family's health, they don't have to, and they don't owe anybody shit in response to why they aren't playing, okay? It's nothing to do with Belichick, has nothing to do with Brady. Stop it. Be better. Thank you. Now, for something not as serious, but also completely just bananas, Joe Kelly got suspended for 8 games for throwing at Alex Bregman. Yes, cheater Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros. Sure, he threw at his head. That's too far. Doesn't matter. But the guy that threw at the head of a cheater got 8 games worth of a suspension. Now the cheater and all his little cheating buddies weren't suspended a single freaking game. And you know what would have happened? Had they had a suspension, wouldn't have gotten thrown at, Joe Kelly wouldn't have gotten suspended. The MLB is so ass backwards with this thing that it's just ridiculous. And it's all you can really do is laugh. That's all you can do. Because obviously the Dodgers have a vendetta against the Astros. And a lot of people are saying, well, Joe Kelly wasn't on that 2017 Dodgers team. No, you're right, he wasn't. He was on the Red Sox still. And if memory serves, in that playoff series against the Astros where the Sox got absolutely killed, Joe Kelly got lit up by the merry band of trash can bangers. So he has pretty good reason himself to not like these guys. So he did what Joe Kelly does, and he threw at him. And the little walking away after the whole Correa at-bat, I thought that was a little childish. I feel like Boston Joe Kelly would have stood there and talked his shit and wait for Correa to get, angry enough to charge at him, Joe Kelly Fight Club, instead of walking away and pouty faces and mocking him and whatever. But I guess with coronavirus, the whole unwritten rules of fighting in baseball is, stay as far away as possible, even if you're going to try to kick the crap out of each other. So Joe Kelly is suspended. No Astro players got a suspension. And Dave Roberts is suspended for a game for reasons really unknown because he didn't do anything. And if what I saw is true, is he's the one getting in trouble for the benches clearing and his players not social distancing. What are we doing, Manfred? I mean, really. And finally, for the blocked stories of this week, I'm not even gonna really go into detail with this one because I've done it all week, and if you follow me, you know. But I'm just gonna lightly touch on it. So here we go. Andrew Benni slander, not tolerated, okay? You come at me with slander, you either get yelled at, proven wrong, blocked, all of the above. And that's that. Actually, I'm not done. I'm gonna add on to that. I've seen all of your tweets, whether they are directed at me or not, and I have saved them. All of them. All of the ones that call for Benni to be benched and for Benni to be traded, I have saved them all. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. I know he had a lot of hype coming into his career based on what he did in college. I'm well aware of that. However, he had a really good season in 2017, and he had a really good first half of the season in 2018. And the second half and last year were pretty average. I will admit it. But he doesn't suck. He's not bad. Sure, he's starting off this weirdo season where they had 2 weeks worth of summer camp to get back in the swing of things after 3 months off from spring training, and he really hasn't done much. That's fine. I agree with that. I'm not saying anybody is wrong when they say that. I'm also not saying he should be hitting leadoff, and I feel like a lot of people really aren't understanding that. Not once have I said Andrew Benintendi needs to be the Red Sox leadoff hitter. It doesn't work. I don't know if it's something mental or what, but he just can't hit leadoff. And that's okay to admit if you're a big Benintendi fan like I am. I can see the rational side of things, I think. Sometimes not so much, but I can admit it. He deserves, in the perfect world, to either be in the 2 spot or somewhere in the 5 or 6 range. Had Mookie Betts not gotten traded, he would have hit leadoff and then Benny in the 2 hole, and all of my problems would be solved. But that obviously didn't happen. Putting him all the way down at 9 the other night, I don't think that's gonna help him at all. I feel like if you toss him in the middle of the lineup so he doesn't lose all the confidence that he already doesn't have right now, because you can tell that he's not happy with himself. He drops F-bombs left and right when he hits into a force out at first, or he strikes out. He's not happy about it. He knows he stinks right now, but he's not a bad baseball player. I think what we should do is realize that this weirdo season is only a week underway, and it might take a little bit of time for grooves to get fallen into. Not everybody is just gonna jump out and be able to hit home runs left and right after 3 months of not playing baseball and then just expected to start up again. And if we're gonna slander Benintendi for the slow start, I would like the same to be done for Rafael Devers and Christian Yelich, and it pains me to say this, but Xander Bogaerts. I know he's a little banged up and it's not really the same thing, but Benny's not the only baseball player in the entire league that's starting off cold. And I don't know if Red Sox fans just don't want to hear it and they don't have patience. Just can we stop, please? It's exhausting because I know we're all smarter than this. We'll reconvene next week and we'll see how this week goes for him. But please, I'm begging. I'm tired. Finish off the show. We are back with Who's Mad. I pissed somebody off this week. I ended up getting blocked. I didn't end up blocking them. They blocked me, which is new, but it happened. So if you missed it, this guy, he replied to my tweet regarding Marcus Cannon opting out, where I said, it's a big blow to the offensive line, but good for him. It couldn't have been an easy decision to make either way. He replies, I'm so sick of these guys making sports political. He should be cut. Sorry, is it political for a guy who has survived cancer to opt out of playing a major contact sport during a pandemic? Or am I missing something there? Does that make him, a Trump supporter, a Biden supporter? Where does the politics lie in that? So naturally, I blew that up because it's just one of the stupidest things I think I have ever heard in my life. And before I could even respond back to him when he asked, okay, well, what's Hightower's excuse? What's Chung's excuse? What's Vitali's excuse? He blocked me. So a lot of you guys went after him too because, like I said, it's just so stupid. And it's really so insensitive given everything that we're dealing with in this world to think that players owe you a reason for why they opted out. And it's also just goes to show the weirdo times that we're living in now where you can't do a damn thing without somebody trying to make it political. The guy's been sick before. He's susceptible to getting this virus. He doesn't want to put himself in that situation. Good for him. I'm glad Marcus Cannon opted out for himself. It sucks from a football aspect because he's such a vital part of that offensive line, but holy shit, dude, you have to use your brain at least once or twice for me, because I can't even finish that idea because it's just gonna make me mad. We all need to be smarter than what we are, and I don't know if I give people too much credit for having brains and common sense. Opting out of playing football is not a political statement. It's a statement saying, hey, I don't want to get sick. I don't want my family to get sick. I don't want anybody I care about to get sick. I don't feel comfortable doing this. I'm not gonna do it. That's it. No politics there, just personal health and hopefully a better, way of life, because God forbid anybody gets sick this season. Politics, though, makes people's brains all wonky. I don't know. That's that. We had a quick show this week because all of the good stuff is starting this weekend with basketball coming back, NHL coming back, and the start of NFL training camps hopefully we can see if the Red Sox can turn their crap around, and we'll reconvene next Friday. So, as always, make sure you're following BSP's Block List on Twitter. That's going to be where I post all my updates from things happening in between shows. I'm going to ask you guys mailbag questions next week. I think what I'm going to do is alternate between who's mad and mailbag and who's mad and mailbag, just so it gets a nice little flow. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And I think just because of everything that is going to be thrown at us this week, I'm going to ask you guys to help me with the agenda, just because I feel like I might be a little overwhelmed. So many things I would probably want to talk about. I want all the good stuff. I want the stuff that you guys are going to be interested in hearing and that you want me to hit on. So be on the lookout for that. And other than that, I will see you guys next Friday, and make sure you keep that block button handy. You never know when you're going to need it.